विषय चालू झालेला.
Is it started?
Start.
Okay. Hello friends, good morning to everyone. So yesterday, as I have discussed your new SYBA compulsory English as well as the special SYBA papers syllabus I have already discussed, and today I am going to start with the first unit. Actually it's not as per syllabus the first unit. In our syllabus this one is going to be your unit number 4. So without wasting much time, let's begin. So here I think this one SYBA 2021 syllabus, which from this academic year is going to start. So let's begin, and I am going to deal with today compulsory English paper of SYBA. Okay, so let's begin. Okay students, what you can see in this picture, I will give you 1 minute to think about, and then I will introduce today's topic. What you can see in this picture, and here one quote is also written, cool as a cucumber. So what exactly it is? Okay, let's go to the next slide. What you can see in this another picture, and here something is written over here, the cat is out of the bag. Okay, the cat is out of the bag. The small girl is there, and then there is a bag in her hand, and one cat is coming out of the bag. Okay, so the cat is out of the bag. So what exactly this small phrase telling you, and what we can call this small phrase? So let us go through. Okay, so this one is your unit number 4 as per our syllabus of compulsory English SYBA, and these are going to be the 3 sub-units in your syllabus. First one is one-word substitutes, second is going to be idioms, and third suffixes and prefixes. So today I am going to discuss the 4.2 idioms, this unit. Okay, so what exactly idioms means? Now idiom is a group of words established by usage as having a meaning not deducible from those of the individual words. This one is quite complicated definition. So let's go for the easy one. What exactly idioms? Idioms साध्या सोप्या भाषेत सांगायचं झालं विद्यार्थ्यांनो, तर idioms म्हणजे वाक्प्रचार. Now idioms and expression whose meaning is different from the meanings of the individual words in it. It presents. Now what are the features of idioms? Idioms presents a figurative non-literal meaning. Just like I showed you in the earlier slide, it presents a figurative non-literal meaning. So we are not supposed to consider the literal meaning, but the meaning behind the literal words that we are going to deal with in idioms. Okay, so the next feature of idioms, figurative meaning differs from the literal meaning. So this is one of the feature of idioms, that it represents figurative meaning. It gives you figurative meaning which differs from the literal meaning. The next feature of idioms, it focuses on symbolic meaning. So as I said, it tells you about the symbolic meaning behind the literal words. So as I have shown you in the earlier slide, cucumber, as cool as cucumber. So it doesn't mean the person is a cucumber, right? So sometimes the word of idioms in itself is a very interesting word, and even it increases beauty to your language. It adds fun to your language. So that one is one of the feature of idioms. It focuses on symbolic meaning, okay, and not literal meaning. Just like the cat is out of the bag. So in literal sense, we are not supposed to take the meaning that the cat is out of the bag and that's it. It's not that much. So behind the cat is out of the bag means there is some secret is there which you want to hide, and someone has already disclosed your secret, and in that sense you are supposed to consider the cat is out of the bag. Now the question arises, why do we need to study idioms? जरूरत क्या है idioms पढ़ने की? Why there is a need to study idioms, and why idioms, this particular topic is included in your SYBA compulsory English. Okay, so what do you think? Why we need to learn idioms? गरज का है idioms वाक्प्रचार अभ्यास करण्याची. So it adds beauty to your language. That one is the feature. It adds beauty to your language. It adds meaning. It is just like it decorates your language. It adds spice to your language. Next, now idioms. Idioms need to familiarize with the meaning and usage of each idiom. So you need to familiarize with the meaning and usage of an idiom, each idiom, because as I said, it focuses on the symbolic meaning. The main purpose of learning idioms is, learning symbolic meaning. So whatever words are going to be there, so you will have to go beyond, you will have to see, you will have to go through the symbolic meaning which is hidden behind the literal meaning of the words or the phrase, particular phrase. Okay. Now learning idioms, of course, just now I said, is fun as well as it increases your vocabulary, it adds beauty to your language. That one is the main feature of learning idioms. And if you will not able to identify, if you will not able to identify the idiom, if you will not be familiar with the idioms, then possibility is there that if someone uses that learning psychology or learning new concepts in psychology or learning anything new or again bringing a new innovation or looking for new innovation, new techniques is not everyone's cup of tea. So if someone says like this, so if you will not aware about what is mean cup of tea doesn't mean that everyone is having cup of tea or like that. So there is a literal symbolic meaning behind a cup of tea, this phrase, this idiom which is used by XYZ person. So you need to, and for this purpose you need to learn idioms. Then only you will able to understand what the person exactly trying to say. Okay, next. Now let's go through the examples of idioms. The most common English idioms here, examples: a blessing in disguise. A blessing in disguise. Now what is the a blessing in disguise? A good thing that seemed bad at first. Means something good thing looks sounds like a bad thing to you. Let's talk about doing assignment task. When your teacher gives you any assignment or any project, and in that case you think assignments we are supposed to do, and why these unit tests, and why these tasks and why these activities we need to do. Sometimes you find it boring, sometimes you find it very tiresome to do all these activities and all these assignments, but behind giving this assignment task to you, teacher is having some motive that when at the time of exam it will be easy for you to crack the exam. And again, it's not only about the exam, but it will enhance your memorizing skills. It will enhance it, you will learn and you will remember it for your lifetime, all these new concepts and new learning. So that is the you can blessing in disguise. A good thing that seems bad at times. It seems bad for you to complete any project or any task, but it turns out as a blessing to you later on. Okay. So a dime a dozen. A dime a dozen means something which is very common. What you can say, low quality in certain extent, not always. Okay. A dime a dozen means if any student, if someone has given, one student has given a presentation in front of the in front of the employers, let's say, and then if they found your presentation not up to the mark, or even if they found it very common, not up to the mark, if they found it that it's nothing special in your presentation, or if you are just repeating whatever the other people had already said in their presentation, in their the other candidates, if they had already repeated whatever you are saying, though in that case these employers are going to consider you as a dime a dozen. A dime a dozen means something which is very common. So whatever your presentation was, just like a dime a dozen, it was just a dime a dozen. It means that something very common. There is nothing special in your presentation which will make you eligible for the XYZ post for which you have applied. Okay. Next, beat around the bush. So what does it mean, beat around the bush? Avoid saying what you mean, usually because it is uncomfortable. So beat around the bush means avoid saying what you mean usually. Means you want to say something but you are not able to say. Means you are unable to say it. You are feeling uncomfortable. Maybe the person is senior, much senior than you, and you want to tell him something, which possibility is there that he is not going to appreciate it or he is not going to consider it. So in that case, beat around the bush means you are beating around the bush, or in other sense, again one meaning will be that you are trying to convince your friend to complete the task within timeline or within deadline. Okay, but you are not able to, or if you know the nature of your friend that he is a lazy student and maybe he is not going to take it positively, and still if you are trying, then your third friend is going to tell you that don't beat around the bush, nothing is going to change, he is not going to change his attitude, and that's it. So beating around the bush means you are trying to convince that person, but we don't think that he is going to get convinced. Again, break a leg. Break a leg means good luck. You are giving good luck, you are giving best wishes for someone, you are giving best wishes to someone. Okay, let's have example of break a leg. So break a leg means when teacher says to students that students from next week your semester exams are going to start, so let's break a leg. It means best of luck, good luck for you for your examination. Okay, that is it. That is the meaning of break a leg. Okay, other examples. Let's call it a day. Today we have done lot of work, so let's call it a day. So today's task is already done, and when you are saying to your friend that I am very tired, it's enough today, we have done lot of work today, so let's call it a day. So what does it mean by let's call it a day? Call it a day. This one is the idiom in this sentence. So stop working on something. It means stop working on something. So we have already done our today's work. So whatever we have planned, we have successfully able to finish it off with it. So let's call it a day. Next will be cutting. Okay, next example, cutting corners. What does it mean, cutting corners? Let's go through. Doing something poorly in order to save time or money. Cutting corners means what? Doing something poorly means just you are trying to finish it off at any cost without giving any attention to the quality, or without giving attention whether it is perfect, or whether even forget about the perfection. But even if it's not up to the mark, even you are not giving attention to the quality, to the appropriateness of your task. So that is it mean that doing something poorly, cutting corners. Cutting corners, doing something poorly in order to save time or money. Okay. Cutting corners. So let's go through the next idiom. Let's go to the next idiom, cutting corners. It means doing something poorly in order to save time or money. So don't try to cut corners while doing your task, while doing any project. But there is another meaning also, symbolic meaning of the same cutting corners. Now let me tell you one thing, students. Some idioms, they convey more than one meaning. They are used, and it depends upon the usage, the use of that particular idiom, where you are in which particular context. Context will be the more appropriate term. So in which context you are using a particular idiom, that decides the meaning of, that changes the meaning of that idiom. Now one example, one meaning which just now I have explained, that cutting corner means doing something poorly, means just and I said this in the context of completing any task, doing any task. So in that context you are trying to cut corners. Okay, but if this cutting corners, if you are trying to save the time, if you are trying to save the money, but at the cost of quality, then it is it's not going to give any positive outcome. So in that sense, cutting corners. Now another one meaning for the same idiom is, let us go through the example itself, which I have written here. My mom often had to cut corners when we were kids in order to feed all of us. So what does it mean? My mom often had to cut corners. Means she often had to deal with the adjustments in the context of money. In order to complete, in order to fulfill the needs of all her kids. What she used to do? My mom often had to cut corners when we were kids in order to feed all of us, in order to save money in this context here, in this context. Bail the a difficult, impossible task. Means it is very difficult to, circumstances are not positive, circumstances are not in favor of you, and in such type of circumstances, the task comes in front of you that you need to convince someone. You need to, you don't have any alternative, and chances are very less that you are able to convince the XYZ person, to allow you or to do some favor. Now, who will wear the cap? So it's a very difficult and impossible task to convince. For example, let's say you were already, as a student, I want to give example. You had already, let's say you were already absent for the 1 month, and you are giving excuses for your absentee and your reasons behind remaining absent were not, worthy enough to consider as an absentee, but still you are giving, and again you are remaining absent you are going to remain absent for 1 more week. So in that case, then your friend asking you to convince the principal to allow you for 8 days leave, 8 days absentee. So in that case, it is going to be a difficult task for you, impossible task for you to accomplish, impossible task for you to convince principal, because you had already, given a very wrong kind of wrong kind of your image you had created in front of the principal, that you are means principal considered you as a what I can say, the irregular student. So wear the cat. So here in this context, who will wear the cat and take on the job of convincing the principal? Okay. So these are the references. So more examples, you can go through these references, and there you can find more examples of idioms. Thank you so much for watching this lecture, for listening to me and the idioms session. I hope you have understood this session. थोडक्यात सांगायचं झालं स्टुडंट, तर इडियम्स हे वाक्प्रचार असतात, जसं म्हणी आणि वाक्प्रचार. मराठीत तुम्ही शिकला असाल, तुमच्या 12वी 11वी अगदी 5वी पासून तुम्ही शिकत आलेला आहात की म्हणी आणि वाक्प्रचार. अँड वन मोर थिंग आय वॉन्ट टू टेल यू, एक इंटरेस्टिंग जो पार्ट आहे इडियम शिकण्यामागे. इडियम जेव्हा तुम्ही शिकता तर तुम्ही तुमच्या रिजनल भाषेत आणि इंग्लिश भाषेत, अशा दोघी भाषेत जेव्हा तुम्ही कंपेअर करणार, जेव्हा तुम्ही तुलना करणार, मराठी भाषेतले वाक्प्रचार आणि म्हणी आणि इंग्रजी भाषेतले त्याला पर्यायी जे आहेत, म्हणजे सेम मीनिंग जे कन्वे करणार आहे तोच अर्थ मराठीतल्या म्हणी आणि वाक्प्रचारांचाच अर्थ इंग्लिशमध्ये ॲज इट इज जेव्हा तुम्हाला दिसेल, तर त्याच्यामध्ये खूप तुम्ही जेव्हा तुलना करणार तर तुम्हाला ते खूपच एक गमतीशीर जो प्रकार आहे इडियमचा, वाक्प्रचारांचा, तुम्हाला नक्कीच शिकायला मिळणार आहे. सो थँक्यू सो मच फॉर वॉचिंग माय lecture, listening my lecture, and as well as watching my lectures. And in next session, I hope you have understood, and in next session I am going to discuss you the another subtopic of this unit number 4 SYB compulsory English, and this syllabus is framed for I forget to tell you in my earlier session also, that this syllabus is the new syllabus of SYBA compulsory English, which will be effective with effect effect from which is with effect from which will be in effect from 2020-2021, and this syllabus is applicable to the affiliated colleges of सावित्रीबाई फुले पुणे युनिव्हर्सिटी पुणे. सावित्रीबाई फुले पुणे विद्यापीठ पुणे ने अफिलिएटेड जे संलग्नित महाविद्यालय आहेत तर त्या सगळ्या महाविद्यालयांसाठी हा सिलेबस जो मी मागच्या सेक्शनमध्ये सुद्धा डिस्कस केला आहे तुम्हाला सिलेबस काय आहे कंपल्सरी इंग्लिशचा, त्याचबरोबर मी SYBA जे स्पेशल पेपर्स आहेत इंग्लिशचे तर त्यांचा सुद्धा सिलेबस मी डिस्कस केलेला आहे. तर तुम्ही त्या व्हिडिओचा सुद्धा तुम्ही एक रिव्ह्यू घेऊ शकता आणि त्यानंतर तुम्ही हा व्हिडिओ बघा ज्यात मी युनिट नंबर 4ला सुरुवात का केली. तुम्ही विचारणार की मॅडमने युनिट 4च का सुरू केला, कारण हा सगळ्यात सोपा आणि इझी टॉपिक आहे. तर मला असं वाटलं की सगळ्यात जो इझी टॉपिक आहे सिलेबसमधला तसं तर सगळेच इझी आहे टॉपिक आणि सगळेच छान आहेत युनिट्स, पण त्यातल्या त्यात मला जो इडियमचा युनिट आहे आणि वन वर्ड सबस्टिट्यूट अँड व्होकॅब्युलरी जे आहे तर तो युनिट मला जास्त गमतीशीर आणि इवन दिस वन इज वन ऑफ माय फेवरेट युनिट फ्रॉम दिस सिलेबस. आणि हा युनिट जो आहे हा सगळ्यात इझी आणि सोपं युनिट आहे जे आपण अगदी सहजरित्या शिकू शकतो आणि इथून मग पुढे तुमची पार्श्वभूमी तयार होईल बाकीच्या सगळे युनिट्स अभ्यासण्यासाठी. ठीक आहे. Thank you so much students for watching my video. Thank you.